Welcome, virtual Voyagers, to the very first episode of Reviews from Another Reality. We are a podcast that is going to be doing a deep dive into the exciting world of virtual reality. We're going to be looking at the wide collection of games that are available, and we're going to be reviewing them for you guys. My name is Alec, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Don. How are you today, Don?
I'm doing great. Hello, everyone. How's it going?
You ready to dive into our very first game?
Been ready. Let's do this.
So for our inaugural episode, we are going to be talking about a game called SUPERHOT VR, developed by the SUPERHOT team. It was first released in 2016, and I played this game on the Valve Index. How about you, Don?
Oculus Rift, the OG Oculus Rift, baby.
My man Don is an OG for show.
Yeah, 2016 is when I first started playing this game.
So we thought this would be a good game to start with because it's kind of simple. It's a simple game.
We love it.
But yeah, we loved it, and it was it's a title that's really popular. I've heard a lot about it, and so let's talk about it. So to kind of give people who may not be familiar more of an overview of the game, the basic gist of the gameplay is you're facing off against all of these enemies, and time only moves when you as a player move. So you're wearing your headset, you've got your controllers, but if you're standing still, time is standing still, and the enemies are all standing still. It's only when you move around do the enemies start to shoot at you and start to charge at you. And it's a really cool mechanic.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's genius, and it's you know what's funny? Here's a fun fact: this game was originally made actually in 2013 for a 7-day game development competition, and they made it in 7 days. And this was for non-VR actually at first, and in 2017 they made the VR version, and it's like, wow, it's made for VR, like all the mechanics, But yeah, anyways, I'm a big fan of the gameplay mechanics.
And you know, when you're playing the game and when the enemies shoot at you, the bullets it creates a Matrix style effect.
Oh yeah, my dream game right there.
Right. So
Neo, we feel like near Neo in the Matrix in this game.
Everyone is familiar with the Matrix, the iconic scene where Neo is being shot at and he's bending over like he's doing the limbo. And all these bullets are just whizzing past him, and that's this game kind of creates that scenario over and over.
Yeah, and man, we need a SUPERHOT Matrix crossover. You feel me, Al?
We do. We
really need that.
We need some
I'd love it.
Matrix levels in this game. Come on,
yeah,
modders.
Yes,
I'm calling out to you. But yeah, I thought the game's overall mechanic was just a really smart way of using VR because, if you're a developer and you're sitting down and you're trying to think, how do I make a VR game that is inherently taking advantage of the platform?
Yeah.
Because it is just inherently different than traditional gaming, and this uses it in a way that's really smart.
Yeah, the gameplay is easily the biggest strong point of this game. It just works so damn well. But they worked around all the weak points of VR very well. Like, this is a good game for a first-time VR person to go into, in my opinion, because you don't have to learn the teleport mechanic, which can throw some people off. Locomotion can throw some new people off, and you're stuck in one little area, and you get to use your VR space to run around in, so it feels very natural.
I don't think you can move at all, right? You can't. You're stuck in one
You're limited.
spot.
You can run back and forth in your room, of course.
Sure.
That's your limit. Your VR space is going to be your limit, which it's very natural feeling.
Right.
You don't have to be floating around when you're a new player and feel like you're floating. Some people say, but that's why I'd say if you're new, go for this one for sure.
Yeah, overall the game felt really good to play. Like I mentioned, I played it using the index controllers, so the tracked fingers worked really well. Grabbing all the items worked well. I would say, let me know if you agree. I would say the throwing of the items was not perfect in my opinion.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
A little easier, I think, with the Oculus, though, controllers. I think the design, it's more focused for the Oculus, in my opinion, at first. And that might be also something that could affect it,
Yeah, so just so people are aware, in the game, you're given an array of weapons. There are, like I mentioned, there are guns and throwable items. And some of those items are like, ninja stars or whatever they might be, or shoes or some crazy hat, like it's Odd Job, you're throwing. But, yeah, when you're facing off, some enemies will be kind of distant. They'll be further away, and you'll have a few of those throwable items in front of you. And again, time holds still when you're not moving. But when you grab that item and you throw it, it was hard for me to get them. Like, it was hard for me to perfectly, aim it, and it felt like maybe that needed to be fine-tuned a little bit better.
Yep. I had trouble definitely hitting some people. I'd always rely on my gun, but when you did get it, you're pretty pumped.
Yeah, the guns felt good. The guns felt better than...
Yeah, and you have to almost lead with your shots, because, time, especially with time slowing down and they're running around, you shoot, that bullet has a lot of travel time because time's slowing down, and obviously they're moving at the same time, though. But still worked really well. And one tip I would say, remember always that you can block the bullets with everything that you have, which helps a lot in survivability. You can hold your gun out, tilt it, and block the bullet. You can slice the bullets in half, which is so much fun. I love doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, the game, its visual style is very minimalist. It's it's a very sharp kind of contrast. There's it's very white. So when you're in the simulations, the environments are all white, and the enemies are all blood red, and all the guns and the throwable items are all black, and it creates a very cool contrast. And like I said, it's minimalist. You're not seeing any features on these enemies. You're just...
Yeah, I'm always a fan of the simplistic visuals in VR. When it complements the gameplay, makes everything crystal clear for you. In combat, you're not going to make any mistakes because of not seeing something. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the white and red contrast. The low poly enemies. Mm-hmm.
The game had kind of a catchy sound design, too, and it's similar to its visuals. Like, it had a cool visual style, but the sound design, the SUPERHOT. I thought that was really cool.
I like that. That was pretty
between
good.
Levels.
Yeah, what is satisfying is just hearing those low poly red guys shatter.
Right. It's really satisfying to get those guys.
And I don't believe there's a soundtrack for this, Al.
No.
And that makes the sounds pop even harder.
Mm-hmm.
Makes them even more pronounced.
But the voice, that narrator, kind of when you're taken out of the simulation,
satisfying.
Yes, and when you're taken out of the simulations and you're in that.
Yeah, you're in that little MS-DOS computer room.
You see kind of some cool details in there. You hear like some staticky sounds, and
which we can get into the plot. It's definitely not the game's strong suit, but which is perfectly fine with me. The game wasn't focusing on a plot or anything. It was about the gameplay, and the gameplay was what sold it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
right.
From what I saw, you go ahead, Al. Sorry.
Well, the plot was, I thought it was just interesting how they didn't give you a lot of outright exposition. It was just you were left to sort of piece it together.
Yeah, that's how they wanted it. This not to focus on the plot, not to worry about it, or whatever.
Right.
Just it's like this is the next level, past it. But,
right.
Which is great.
Mm-hmm. But man, when you're playing and when you shatter one of the enemies and they're carrying a gun and then their gun flies in the air,
great.
And you just snatch it out of the air and it's just like, it's so fun.
It's really well done.
It feels great. Overall, I thought it was too short, and
that's definitely a factor.
Yeah, it was over much too fast, and that's maybe something. VR games tend to be shorter.
Yeah, and I'd maybe take it back to this was for a 7-day game competition.
Yeah,
so that makes sense. But also, They did add another game too. We haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, what is the? I'm forgetting the title of the expansion.
SUPERHOT Control Delete or something. I don't.
You know what? Let me look it up. It's
go ahead.
Because it is Mind Control Delete.
Mind Control Delete. My bad.
No, but we'll have to give that a try.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because this is like one of those things where I was left wanting way more.
Yeah, same. And it's so much fun.
And
I have a few complaints about this game.
So what were the complaints then?
Yeah, like I said, there's the weak point I'd say was a plot or whatever, but that's okay. So I would say for some people, it requires a lot of movement, a lot of like kind of exercise. Some people don't want to do that. So if you don't like kind of breathing a little bit heavy or like getting your sweat on with your headset on, you might not be a fan of having to do that constantly, because you really got to constantly duck and dodge and do squats and like all, you got to get on the ground or whatever. If you got to do what you got to do. And
to add on to that, because that's a pretty good point, I thought the game was pretty difficult, and since you mentioned,
that was frustrating.
Yeah, well, and since you mentioned it's very physical.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying.
It tends to get even more frustrating because it's not like
you're going through physical, like you're going through a little workout to get through these tough maps.
Right, and it's not like you're playing a game at your computer and you keep dying. I mean, that's frustrating.
It's that plus you got to go through some stuff.
I'm like sweating right now.
You're sweating through the maps with everything. Like,
so it's pretty challenging, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's like I don't really mind too much of that. Like, but at the same time, it's like you got to take a break. Or some people are like, "Screw this."
Right.
But that's not the biggest deal. It's just something you got to get used to.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, I would say beyond the needing to fine tune the throwing of the items and the short length.
Yeah. It has a little bit of replayability, but I agree completely.
Yeah,
definitely short.
But beyond that, I liked it a lot. I mean, I thought this game was
big fan,
really fun, and it's interesting that it came out around the time that VR was sort of becoming more mainstream, and
definitely one of the most well-known VR games around of all time. Obviously, disregard Alex.
Yeah,
but until that game came out, this was like a number one seller.
You could almost see this game being. I could see this game being, like having it really fun to play with like friends and being competitive, and I could see people getting really good at this,
and lots of mod possibilities, speed runs. Oh man, you name it. Speed running could be interesting. It's probably out there too.
Right,
you can check the YouTube for that.
But what a great idea to slow down time or to stop time unless you're moving. That's such a smart way. To use VR. It's
genius.
It's a fun twist on like the shooter game.
I could go for a sequel, so we got to get on that.
We got to get on
Mind Control Delete.
We're gonna check it out. I think it's worthy of a check out. So, what would you give this game out of 10?
Man, for a VR game, I got to give it a 9 out of 10 because it's just so genius. It's a groundbreaking VR mechanic, in my opinion.
Cool.
And go ahead.
I'm going to give it an 8. I think it's a game that if you're interested in playing VR, you should absolutely check it out. It's really fun. We've played our fair share of games, and we'll be reviewing them for you. And this game, to me, ranks among the most fun.
Absolutely.
Very fun game. Beyond that, I would say maybe I wish it were a little more replayable, but highly recommended.
Absolutely.
So that's what our opinions are on SUPERHOT VR. Don and I, we started this podcast because we go way back. We've been friends for years. We've been playing
kindergarten.
Yes, kindergarten. We've known each other 20 years.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And we've been playing games for how long? I mean, since we were kids.
Since then.
Since that time. And,
yep.
We both love VR. Don actually was one of the reasons I decided to get into VR was he showed it to me, and he had his Oculus.
Oh, yeah. Had to show Al. I knew he'd love it, and he did.
And I did. And we think that this is an exciting space and an exciting platform.
By far my favorite medium.
And we're really excited to see where it goes, and that's why we want to review these games, and we want people to know that there are awesome games to play, and you should check out VR. You should check out these games.
We want to spread the VR love.
And we do indeed. So thank you for joining us. This has been episode 1 of Reviews from Another Reality.
Yes, I'm pumped. Episode 1.
Yes, indeed. We don't know quite yet what we'll be reviewing next week, but
it's gonna be good though.
It's gonna be good. Just be sure to tune in.
Yeah.
So this is Alex signing off.
Don signing off.
And we will catch you again soon, Virtual Voyagers.
Yes.